Welcome to episode 8 of the Supreme Wrestling Federation, The Aftermath. On this episode, we have the Nothing to Lose pay-per-view. Got a main event featuring Vengeance and Eric Eisen. Also on the card, we have Brandon James versus Valiant, the Awesomeness versus the Bump Holes for the SWF tag team titles. We have Monty Lau finally making his in-ring debut in the series, at least, against Mikey Lau, the guy who he's been kind of screwing with since the beginning of the series, trying to get Mikey to fight for him. Mikey's turned him down every step along the way, and Mikey's finally had enough, so he's going to get his match tonight against him. And then we also have the Crippler versus Jack Bruce in a cage match. And then the last advertised match we have on the card is a three-way, a triple threat match for the North American title, featuring Bret Starr, champion Joey Morgan, and unofficial holder of the title, Paul Huntingdon. I don't think I've said that match yet. If I have, it's not featured twice on the card. It's just one match. So, here we go. Starting off the show, we have the Pain Alliance versus the Hero Squad. And the Pain Alliance get the win here. Big Smack Scott defeats Captain Atomic by pinfall for a 78B. This is kind of part of the Monty Trescard versus Mikey Lau story. The Pain Alliance came out to beat down Mikey, and then the Hero Squad intervened a couple weeks back. And then this led to their match here. Now we see Jerry Eisen backstage. And Gilmore, Remo, and Rogue are all they're just in there and they're bitching at him because they're not featured on the card tonight, and they still feel like they are owed a match of some sort, especially after the main event that should have decided the number one contender. And it ended in the usual shenanigans, as things involving Eric Eisen generally do. So finally, after a minute of hearing everybody just scream and shout, Jerry raises his voice. "Everybody shut the hell up. Get out of my office." And then they kind of look at each other. This isn't a side of Jerry Eisen we've seen. He hasn't really shown a lot of anger or anything like that. So the three leave. They're visibly pissed off. Now we have our North American title match in a 79B. Hollywood Bret Starr pins Paul Huntingdon with a Hollywood hammer. Hollywood Bret Starr finally wins his first title in SWF. Like his father before him, he is now a holder of gold. Only time will tell if he can hold it for the 6 years that his father held the world title for. For some reason, I don't think that'll happen. Just kind of a gut instinct, I guess you could say. I kind of see this going like Morgan and Huntingdon are basically carrying the match. Bret Starr is not yet on the level of these two. He's not as over, he's not as popular. And quite frankly, he's not as good of an in-ring worker as the other two. He's not polished. And Morgan especially. Morgan's really good in the ring. Paul's not too bad, but, even coming from the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, from that promotion, Bret Starr's in-ring skills aren't exactly where you might expect them to be. As an entertainer, he is great. We see that in this match. He's kind of getting the crowd behind him, not in the sense of they're cheering for him as he is a heel. I mean behind him as in they're booing the shit out of him. Every time it looks like he's going to get involved in the match, he sneaks out of the ring. He's kind of hiding. He's picking his spots. Like I said, Morgan and Huntingdon carry the bulk of the match. Bret Starr is basically only getting involved during the big spots, the big moments of the match. And then towards the end, Morgan hits his finish, I can't even think what the hell his finish is called. but he hits it on Paul Huntingdon, and then Morgan, being fairly cocky himself, he's kind of taunting and trying to get the crowd to cheer him on. Cheer him on, man. And, and Bret Starr takes that as an opportunity to slide back into the ring, throw Morgan over the top rope, and steal the damn victory away from now former North American champion Joey Morgan. And then after the match, Bret Starr's celebrating, and he goes way overboard. He tours the 4 turnbuckles. He's getting up there. He's posing. He's holding the title. He's looking at it like he's never seen anything so great as himself holding a championship. So the crowd's showering him in boos, and he takes a little tour around the ringside and kind of just holding the title in the audience's face. People right there at ringside. And then finally he goes up on the ramp and he does the same thing. He poses, holds the title up, just soaking in the boos from the crowd. So next we have Brandon James versus Valiant. Valiant finally beats Brandon James, but it's not necessarily in the way that you would expect. Kind of taking this feud in a little bit of different direction. The last couple of weeks we've been more or less teasing kind of an intergender tag match. And then here we see Chrissy Angel distract Valiant, but also distract Brandon James. And the way that happens is while these two are fighting, maybe Valiant hits his finish or whatever he does. And Chrissy gets up on the apron to distract Valiant from getting the pinfall. So Valiant's over there for a couple of seconds, and as Brandon James goes to get up, Hannah comes over and yanks Chrissy off of the apron. So Brandon James is kind of preoccupied by the business going on with those two, and that allows Valiant to hit his finish again and get the pinfall. And then after the match, we see Brandon James and Chrissy Angel getting in a huge argument. Brandon James, you can't hear what they're saying, of course, but you can kind of see Brandon James is pissed, and he completely blames this loss on Chrissy Angel. Now we have our tag team titles match in an 82B. The Amazing Bumpholes defeat the Awesomeness to win yet another tag team title belt. This is just a story of the Awesomeness being a little too arrogant for their own good. They've always thought that they're better than the mainstays of the tag division and the Bumpholes, and the Bumpholes, being the veterans, kind of showed that was not the case tonight. It wasn't a one-sided affair by any means. Kind of a back and forth, kind of quick paced. Both of these teams are very, very solid workers. But the Bumpholes just get the best of the Awesomeness on almost every encounter. When the Awesomeness try to cheat, the Bumpholes use their veteran instincts to quickly turn the tides back in their favor. The Awesomeness try to, isolate one team member, but again, their arrogance kind of gets the best of them, as every time they turn their back, it's like the Bumpholes kind of sense it, whichever one's down on the cell, and he quickly makes the tag. So the Bumpholes are kind of rotating in pretty consistently. They're always fresh, always full of energy. The Awesomeness begin to get frustrated and make a few more mistakes than they normally would, and it cost them. And the Bumpholes just they win the match clean. And after the match, the Awesomeness beat down the Bumpholes. They beat them down good. Now we have Hernandez versus John Greed. Just a rematch from a couple of weeks ago. This was again just to get Hernandez on the card, get him a win. Nothing big here. This is more or less an intermission match. Now we have Jenny Playmate backstage interviewing Jack Bruce, asking him about his upcoming cage match tonight. Bruce says, "Look, the time for games is over. Crippler and I, we're gonna be surrounded by a cage, and it's gonna be some hard-hitting affair. There's gonna be a lot of violence involved in this match. He's been running from me for a long time, and the running will stop. He may be able to get out of this cage alive, but it won't be without some bruises, without some blood. He will be battered. And then he walks off very, very cold and very stoic. And then here's the cage match in a 71B-, again because they don't click. Crippler defeats Jack Bruce by escaping the cage in almost 22 minutes. Bruce loses this match, but he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He inflicts a massive amount of damage on the Crippler. He controls pretty much the entire match, not once trying to escape the cage. Matter of fact, he doesn't even climb up onto the first rope to begin climbing out of the cage. His sole intention in this match was to beat the piss out of the Crippler. About 2 minutes left in the match, the Crippler was finally able to get in a cheap shot, an eye poke, a low blow, and then hits him with the pile driver, just long enough to get out of the cage. And while he's kind of backtracking towards the backstage area, Jack Bruce is kind of leaning on the top rope, and he's just seething. He's almost foaming at the mouth, and you got an idea that Bruce isn't done with the Crippler. Bruce won't be done with the Crippler until he exacts the exact revenge that the Crippler put on him. You get the idea that Bruce will not stop until the Crippler himself is crippled. Now we have another backstage interview with Eric Eisen. Jenny Playmate's interviewing him about his main event match with Vengeance. Eisen appears a little bit nervous. He's saying, Vengeance has been here for a long time, but I've been here almost just as long. Hell, matter of fact, this is my company. I've been here since it started. Vengeance thinks he's going to take away this title from me, and he kind of holds his title up and looks at it, kind of taps it once or twice. He's out of his mind. I've beaten far bigger, far stronger men than Vengeance. He's a big guy, and he is strong, but I fought stronger. Hell, just last month, I fought 3 men and I won. You think one man's really gonna stop me? I'm leaving, nothing to lose, with this title in my hand. Now we have Monty Trustcard versus Mikey Lau. This match was overbooked. C-57 in 8 minutes. Mikey Lau defeated Monty Trustcard. That was actually supposed to be like a no contest. 1 second. There we go. And about that had decent wrestling, but didn't have much heat. Mikey Lau and Monty Trustcard fought to a no contest in 8 minutes and 12 seconds. The match also had a lot of interference. Big Smack Scott and Kurt Laramie, the Pain Alliance, attacked Mikey Lau. And finally, Kill Switch interfered against Trustcard to even the odds. That's right, Frankie Perez is now with the Supreme Wrestling Federation. He came to the defense of his longtime friend Mikey Lau. In this match, there's not really much to say in this match. Monty was basically weaseling his way out of every situation he could. Every time Mikey got his hands on him, Monty tried to slip under the bottom rope. More or less was just trying to run away and get away from Mikey. And then finally, the Pain Alliance came out and began to beat down on Mikey. Uh, and that didn't last very long because almost immediately as they came out, Kill Switch Frankie Perez came through the crowd to even the odds. And what we see now is Monty Trescard retreats and pretty much leaves the arena, while Mikey Lau and Kill Switch are taking it to the Pain Alliance. They're beating them down. They're back in the ring at this point, and they're just punching and kicking the shit out of them. The Pain Alliance take a powder. They leave under the bottom rope, and they're backing up the ramp towards Monty Trescard, and both teams are just mouthing off at one another. And now for the main event of the evening. Eric Eisen versus Vengeance in a 79B. In a bout that had great heat and good wrestling, Eric Eisen defeated Vengeance in 15:53 by pinfall using underhanded tactics. Imagine that. Eric Eisen makes his first defense of the title. He also sustained a strained rotator cuff. That's interesting. So this is a match where Vengeance controls the majority of it. Eisen gets in a few cheap shots here and there to get the upper hand periodically throughout the bout. But Vengeance is too big. He's a little too strong for Eric, despite what Eric said in his promo before the match. He's just throwing him around like a rag doll. Gorilla press slams, military press slams, back body tosses, power slams, clotheslines, big boots. Just think of your generic big man moves. And Eric Eisen probably took them all in this match. Eisen gets the upper hand again towards the end of the match. Little eye poke. And Eisen selling, walking towards the turnbuckle. Vengeance comes behind him, and the referee's trying to hold Vengeance back. Eric Eisen hits him with a kind of a mule kick, and then gets the upper hand, starts clubbing him in the back, kind of throws him on the ground, and then just starts stomping him. Vengeance get backs up and hits him with a massive clothesline, and then all the lights go out. And the lights are out for about a minute, and we hear a lot of noise, a lot of slapping on the mat, the canvas. When the lights come back on, we see Eric Eisen crawling to a downed Vengeance and gets an arm over him, while the referee has no idea what's going on, and unfortunately has to count to 3. So we see Eisen defend his title, but it's obvious what happened, but it's not necessarily known for sure. But we know Eric Eisen didn't do this by himself. That's it for the show. Got an 80B. That's actually not terrible. Couple of talking points after this. What is Jerry Eisen going to do? Because now Eric has screwed 4 contenders: Gilmore, Rogue, Remo, and now Vengeance. So Eisen is definitely going to be a marked man. He has 4 guys after him, and with the injury he sustained, a strained rotator cuff, probably not looking too good. We also have coming out of this a potential feud between the Cali Dragons and the Pain Alliance, which that should be interesting. And we've now seen Jack Bruce go down this road where he's he's not the Jack Bruce that we all know. He's much more aggressive, and it seems like his only desire is to injure the Crippler, to hurt the Crippler, to inflict injury upon him as the Crippler inflicted upon Jack Bruce. So will that continue? Will Bruce go back to his old ways where he's, the upstanding good guy, and finally put the Crippler feud to rest? Then we'll see a conclusion hopefully soon between the Awesomeness and the Bumpholes to end their kind of saga. And then what's going on with Brandon James? Is Chrissy still going to manage him? Will he go at it solo? And then finally, the last question. We are now in the era of Hollywood Bret Starr. How does he do with that North American title? What kind of champion will he be? Tune in next time to find out. That's it.